What's happening? Jeff Lerner here, going live again today, like I do. Today, we are talking about the psychology of success. And sadly, the reality for most people is this conversation isn't a hypothetical. It's not like, oh, well, hopefully someday if you start doing these things, you can have all the success that you want. It usually is more urgent than that. It's usually more pressing than that, because the reality is most people aren't doing this. Most people are struggling. Most people don't have the success they want, which means this is something that you need to start doing right now so that you can get the success that, frankly, you can't afford to wait for. So many amazing people hopping on already. Jeff, I see you. On Facebook. Elizabeth, I see you on YouTube. I see Hillary. I see a lot of people on Instagram. It's hard to tell who's who on Instagram because you just see people's names. I'm seeing so many hearts, though, and I'll tell you what, I'm so grateful and appreciative of the love and appreciation that I get for doing, honestly, what I love to do anyways, which is just keep that success conversation going. Like I hope you guys believe at this point, if this is not your first time hearing from me, hello, Harold. This is not your first time seeing or hearing from me. I hope you really, truly feel how serious I am. Like, we are going to make the world a better place. My beautiful wife I appreciate you. Man, so many people. I can't keep up. Lawrence, Jace, my son Jace, what's up, buddy? Andrew's here. What's up, guys? Can't wait to see you. So I'm actually up at our place in Central Utah right now. We got my family's coming up. I got here early. My family's on the way. Got a bunch of our boys' friends coming up. Got a whole group. I'm so excited. It's gonna be a great, fun weekend. Listen, hey Jeff, I appreciate that. Man, if you understand how much the world needs a really healthy, positive, success-oriented conversation in a world that just seems to be so tragically screwed up right now, mostly in people's heads. Like policy, we can't control policy, social distancing, regulations, all the stuff that we can't control over that we tend to be fixated on. The reality is we already have complete control over 100% of what we need to have control over to get all the amazingness that life has to offer, and it's right here. And if you think the world needs to hear that message, I'll ask you to share this broadcast with your audience. You know, just give me at least a like or a heart or a thumbs up so that the algorithms know that we got good things happening. The world needs this. You know, at this point, it's funny, man. I started this crusade 2 years ago, and that's what it is. I mean, yeah, it's a company. Yeah, we have a business. Yeah, we have products. Yeah, we have a team. But it's a crusade. It's a crusade, a movement, a mission. Like, it's one of those words, like one of those impact words, right? And I started this 2 years ago, and I had no idea how timely it was going to be. I started it because I see so many people struggling. I see all this nonsense on the internet that's telling people that they can have it all. They can have the life they want, and they just have to do this thing, or they just have to spend this money. Listen, let me tell you what the definition of a scam is. A scam is anything that promises to change your circumstances without you having to change. Spending money, that's not changing. Jumping through hoops, that's not changing. Doing deep, intense, personal, gut-wrenching work, that's changing. That gives you a shot, not a certainty, not a guarantee. That's the other garbage bit that's floating around on the internet, because trust has gotten so low. Everybody thinks they need to have to guarantee the world to make a sale. There's no guarantees. I'll tell you this: wake up early, eat good food, work out hard, communicate effectively, love the people that are important to you, ignore the people that would detract from you, work hard at your business, focus obsessively on giving massive value to the world and asking for less in return than you willingly and freely give. Your life will get better. but I can't guarantee you a specific result. I can't guarantee you $1 million. I can't guarantee you 20 pounds of weight loss. I can't guarantee you 10 years of successful marriage. I can basically just guarantee that you'll have the best shot at those things. You'll just put the odds in your favor. That's it. That's life. You know, I grabbed my phone to show it, but I forgot my phone's up there because I'm broadcasting on Instagram. This is just an empty case. But I saw this great post that Bedros Quillian posted, who I'm actually going to be having on the podcast in the next, I think he's booked for the first of the year. I think it's not till like January, but he's coming on the show. But he's a big influencer online, really successful fitness entrepreneur. And it's an Instagram post with 2 lions. And one of the lions is in a cage. And above that one, it says guaranteed shelter, food, security. And the other one is a lion alone on the savannah, just doing his thing, just strutting his stuff. And it says no guarantees. Which one would you rather be? You want to be a lion in a cage with guaranteed security, food, shelter, reproductive rights when they throw the opposite gender lion in with you for 5 minutes and you get your time to shine? You want all those guarantees? Or you want to be the lion on the savannah with no guarantees, but your freedom and you're in charge, you're self-determined. Yeah, freedom versus security. You know what? Jeff just mentioned, reminds me of the freedom versus security quote. I got it right here. Those who can give up, I'll show it on Facebook and YouTube. I'll show it on Instagram. Those who can give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. This house used to belong to my father-in-law. He posted that. We've never taken it down because it's just so true. Those who can give up, it's funny you mentioned that, Jeff. I literally have it right here. Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. Benjamin Franklin, 1759, one of the founding fathers of our country before the revolution that founded our country. That's why they did the greatest, most disruptive thing in the history of the world. Think what you want of our country now, but the creation, the establishment of a nation that supported life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness for the first time in human political history was the greatest innovation in the history of humanity. And that's the attitude that started it all. Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary deserve neither liberty nor safety. And that was the inverse of that, is they were saying, we will not give up liberty in exchange for safety. We will not let the English come put our lion in a cage so that we can have the illusion of safety. And instead, we're going to bust out of the cage and we're going to start the greatest nation, at least at the time. And I would argue still, but whether you agree with that or not, there's no arguing that for its time, the establishment of the United States started a wave of innovation, a wave of democracy, a wave of liberty, a wave of prosperity that has fundamentally changed the world in the best possible way in history because of that attitude. The opposite of that attitude, the idea that, you know what, I'll give up some freedom, I'll give up some liberty, I'll give up self-determination just for a little more guarantee, a little more security, a little less responsibility on me to forge my own life for better or for worse, to take the lumps and the wins. The opposite of that is the attitude that leads to decay, it leads to fashion, it leads to communism, it leads to enslavement. This is about way bigger stuff than just how to start a business on the internet. I use starting a business on the internet as the frame. I use it as the tool for having these conversations. But listen, if you think that's all it's about, then you haven't listened to me enough, which is good because I'm going to keep talking so you can keep listening. God, so many good people coming on. So listen, here's what I wanted to talk about today because, man, you know, I get it. You make the decision. Yeah, Jeff. Okay, I'm going to go gung ho. I'm going to go full speed ahead. I'm going to create my own life. I'm going to forge my own existence. I'm going to pick the tools. You know, I've got my hammer. Everything's a nail. Whack, whack, whack. Wait, why isn't this working? What's the problem? Well, there's a science to it, not just an art. It's not just, energy. It's also focus and strategy and tactics. That's why I teach. That's what ENTRE Institute is. It's saying, hey, how do we harness this energy? How do we harness this drive and actually apply it in a constructive way to allow you to build the life of your dreams? That's real and that's doable, but it's more than I can obviously teach in this one life. But here's what I want to do. Well, and actually, before I say that, I want to make sure we've got the horse in front of the cart, though. If you don't have the passion, if you don't have the drive, if you don't have the belief, I'm going to say that word again, the belief in what? The belief in your ability to learn and to create the outcome that you want, to learn the skills and to create the outcome that you want. You don't have that. There is no tactical information. There's training, no business exercise. There's no nothing that Entre or Jeff or anyone else in this world can do for you. And by the way, that belief, no one else is responsible for it. I'm going to try to, kind of describe it or explain it or hint around it, but I can't create it for you. So here's what I'm going to tell you. There's a book that I actually haven't read it yet, but I've been researching it, and it's on my list of books. I just ordered it. I'm going to be reading it, and I like to do this. Before I read the book, I basically read a book's worth of research about the book. So, protective and careful about what books I commit the time to actually read, that I like to do the research first. And I've been researching this book called The New Psychology of Success by Carol Dweck. She's a PhD at Stanford. And what I like about her is, unlike me, she doesn't just repeat a lot of wisdom and talk about what she's applied to her to her life in an unscientific way. Most of what I've learned has been relatively unscientific. I guess it's been scientific. It's been trial and error. And I'm mostly sharing stuff that's worked for me. But she has done tons of academic research driven by huge amounts of data. And she wrote a book. And so she's frankly probably a more credible source than me, because my stuff is like, hey, this worked for one guy. Her stuff is like, hey, empirically, this works for everyone. And her book is called Mindset, The New Psychology of Success. Carol Dweck, PhD at Stanford. And from what I've deduced, and again, I have not read the book yet, but I'm going to, and I'm enticed enough to want to read it, and I've ordered it now. But from what I've deduced, it basically talks about the power in doing the work that you love. The power in doing the work that you love. And how when you love doing your work, you create the outcome that you want. And she basically says, do work that you love and keep doing it until you get the result that you'll love. And I was really thinking about that. I was like, man, that actually goes against a lot of the grain of offer psychology and direct response marketing and some of the stuff that we teach. Because a lot of what we teach is in sales, the conventional wisdom in sales is that 75% of effective sales just comes down to the value of your offer. Can you really work your way into success despite the fundamentals of whatever you're working on? And she's basically, and again, I haven't read the book, but sounds kind of saying, at least in part, yes. Or at least that the work, the passion, the heart, the drive, that's a non-negotiable component of success. So maybe not every vocation is equally tracked for potential success, but no vocation will be tracked for potential success if you can't find the love and the joy within doing the work. Maybe that's what she's saying. I would definitely support that point of view. Here's my belief. I believe that love is the most powerful force in the universe. And it's not just romantic love. It's not even just agape love between people. It's even love internally. It's love of work. It's love of it's the joy, right? It's energy. What is love? Really think about the word, the noun love. What is it? Is it a feeling? I actually think it's more than a feeling, because feelings come and go. I feel happy, I feel sad, I watch a movie, I cry, I'm sad, and then I'm over it. I hope love is more than some temporary, chemical release in my bloodstream. I think love is something way more than that. I actually think it's the energetic form of creation. Whatever created us, if it's God, if it's universe, if it's, I don't know, a little troll that lives under a bridge, whatever it was, when it breathed whatever energy into matter that animated it into what we consider existence, sentience. That was love to me. And there has to be a force as big and powerful as that. And I believe that for this reason, because the actual laws of nature teach a concept called entropy, which says that energy in a closed system tends toward spatial and energetic homogeneity. And if you don't know what that means, what it basically means is if you take something complex, I agree, we are all neutrinos, but we are really, really well organized neutrinos. And we are really, really well organized neutrinos that actually go against the laws of nature, because the laws of nature, the second law of thermodynamics, says that energy in a closed system tends towards spatial and energetic homogeneity, which means over time, all organisms, all organized structures of matter do what? They decay. They break down over time. A tree becomes dirt. A human becomes worms. Concrete becomes dust. A grape becomes a raisin. All things shrivel, decay, and deteriorate over time. And yet, what doesn't? I have a beautiful 4-year-old girl named Stella. At one point, she was one single cell. She's not decaying. She's growing. What? She's taking food, which is a relatively complex carbon structure, and ingesting it. And initially it does what nature says it should do, which is decay, breaks down into like enzymes and mush in the tummy. But somehow it actually gets assimilated into and converted into life, and organisms grow and they thrive for a time. What is that? That's not nature. That's not physics. It may be, growth happens in nature, but it's not physics. It actually defies the laws of physics. The laws of physics say things should be breaking down all the time, not building up. Trees shouldn't grow up. They should break down, right? What is that? That's what I'm arguing is love. It's the creative energy force in the universe. And we have the potential as human beings, whether we're at the top or not, I don't know. I'm not taking a position. I'm certainly not expressing my viewpoints about the controversial aspects of this. What I'm trying to find unifying common where we can all experience of life and go, man, there is something pretty magical that happens. Right, we should all just be decaying dust, and strangely, and we have the ability to learn, the ability to create, the ability to come together and create. Like, we're not predicted in the laws of physics, so there must be this thing out. He's calling it love. Maybe if I can harness that and turn and convert it into my work, then the supernatural literally defines. That's not supernatural. I don't know what is. Maybe that can also show up in my life, where if I can infuse love and creative energy into everything that I do, it can actually grow its own outcomes. It can create improbable probabilities. I believe that. I've experienced that. There is no book of logic that would suggest that overweight, unhappy, depressed, literally like borderline suicidal Jeff Lerner living in his ex-wife's parents' house, miserable as all get out and $500,000 in debt. There is no book of logic that should predict or suggest that Jeff Lerner would likely have the life that he has now. But fortunately, I came in touch with some great teachers, some great information, and a great set of beliefs that taught me that if it is to be, it's up to me. And what my mind can believe and conceive, it can achieve. And I built this life. And I built it as a force of love. And when I say that, I mean the creative energy that comes from putting yourself wholly into what you do. And I'm proof that it can happen for anyone. So what's the obstacle to that? Hang on, I'm going to close this window. It's like you can see the light is like kind of annoying. What's the obstacle to that? What's stopping everyone from going, woohoo, rah, rah, I'm on board, Jeff. That sounds great. Let's do it. Let's build it. Let's create it. Let's live it. Let's love it. It's one thing. It's self-doubt. It's a lack of belief. It's that word I repeated earlier. Sadly, many of us don't believe that we have truly the ability to create the life we want and to become the person that we need to create that life. Jason said fear. I would argue that fear, you're exactly right. I think fear is the emotional manifestation of the lack of belief. Look, if you believe in yourself enough, other people's opinions don't faze you. So here's the thing. I don't work on not being afraid. I work on having more belief. Belief, because the lack of belief is the source of fear. The growth of belief is the cure for fear. I don't think you attack the symptoms. I think you attack the cause. And I agree, fear is the number one symptom of a lack of belief, but I think it starts in here. It starts deeper than fear. I think it starts with belief. You know, I had a guy on my show about a month ago. His name's Evan Carmichael. He's one of the biggest influencers on YouTube, business influencers on YouTube. And he said, I'm trying to solve the single biggest problem in the world, which is that people don't believe in themselves. And since that interview, I've been hard pressed to disagree with him. I can't come up with anything bigger as a point in this world. Imagine if we solved that problem. Imagine if everybody believed in themselves, truly believed that they have the ability to learn, to grow, to create, and ultimately achieve whatever outcome they want. You know what would go away? Like pretty much all the bad stuff. I would argue even like all the contentious divorce. There might be amicable divorce where it's like, listen, I believe that I can achieve more on my own, and you believe you can achieve more on your own. So let's agree to part, still support and edify each other, and let's just go be on our own. Or if we are well suited for each other, I believe we can achieve the most together, and let's do that. But all the contention would go away. Certainly all the rioting, all the fear, all the animosity, all the hatred, all the negative blustery rhetoric in this world, it would all go away if everybody just believed in themselves. Right? So okay. So, I mean, I assume you agree with me. Like how do you start to shift the belief muscle in your mind, right? How do you start to build the belief muscle in your mind? I was just on a training where we were talking about this, and a subject came up where somebody said, they asked me the question. They said, Jeff, when you got started online, were you already really good at the technical aspects of the internet, or did you struggle with it? And I said, let me tell you, when I got started online in 2008, not only was I not good at the technical aspects of the internet, but I didn't have any of the tools that people have now to mitigate the technical difficulties of the internet. Right now, you want to build a sales funnel? Great. Go sign up for a funnel builder and, connect some pages together and go edit your copy with the WYSIWYG editor. WYSIWYG stands for what you see is what you get. Just go make it how you want it to be. You don't have to know any code. You don't have to know about hosting and servers and HTML. And you want to change a color? Just go select a different color from a color palette. You don't have to know hexadecimal color codes and how to plug them into CSS scripts. You ever know any of this stuff? I had to go buy books at the bookstore. HTML for dummies, CSS for dummies, PHP and MySQL for dummies, JavaScript for dummies. I literally bought 4 books at the internet. They were each like 200 or 300 pages and spent hundreds of hours reading them and going technical exercises on Notepad and then uploading Notepad files via something called FTP, file transfer protocol, onto a server to see if it would modify my WordPress site the right way. I spent thousands of hours learning how to do things that I don't even have to do anymore because I can do them in 2 seconds with funnel builders. So whatever technical challenges people are facing now, I promise they pale in comparison to what I faced when I got started in 2008. And I know people who got started in 2004. I know people who got started in the late 90s online. What's the difference between all of us who, no matter what the headaches were, they never stopped us, and the people who, no matter what the headaches are or are not, they'll let them stop them? It's an enthusiasm, a vigor, a willingness, and ultimately a belief in our ability to learn. Things don't stop me because I'm not afraid to just learn what I need to know in order to do the thing. Now, admittedly, I was born a learner. I'll own that. Haha, right? Can't not make that joke. But I honestly wear it. I wear it like a badge. I think about it. Like, I'm a learner, man. I can't not learn. I have no excuse to not learn. I'm literally born a learner. And so people, they doubt their ability to learn because, look, if you believed that you had the ability to learn anything you needed to know, then you wouldn't doubt in your ability, in your belief to create the life that you want. Say, oh, well, man, I got to pay off this debt. Oh, well, you know what? That's no big deal. I'm just going to learn brain surgery real quick. And I'm going to go test out of medical school, and I'm going to make $1 million a year as a brain surgeon. No big deal. I just got to go learn brain surgery real quick. Look, if you had a strong enough belief in your ability to learn, you would have no doubts and no lack of belief in your ability to achieve whatever outcome you want. Man, this planet is getting really crowded and miserable. You know what? No big deal. I'm gonna become an expert in aeronautics and physics and metallurgy and environmental engineering, and I'm gonna just, I'm just gonna make a shuttle, blast off to the moon, build myself a little biosphere up there, and I'll be good. Everybody else down here can wreck themselves. Like, you believe you can learn enough, you'll solve your problem. So this is what I'm suggesting here, is that we have an opportunity to solve our belief problem by attacking our learning problem. And it's really easy. Like, it's hard to go, okay, I need to change my beliefs. Come on, Jeff, believe differently, believe differently. By the way, as an aside, this is what parents do to their kids. Son, we believe in this church, so you sit there until you believe what we believe. And the kid's like, okay, I need to believe something different so my parents won't be mad at me. By the way, if you're one of those kids, have them watch this little moment of this live, because that's literally what they're doing to you when they tell you what we believe as a family. But I'm digressing. I just have a strong opinion about that. It's hard to sit there and change your belief problem. It's easy. Oh, wait, is my screen sharing? Marie just made a comment that said, is my screen actually shared? Oh, I didn't even mean to share my screen yet. Yeah, I'm going to share it here in a minute because there's something else I want to share. But yeah, I'm a Post-it notes fiend, Marie. But here's the thing. It's hard to attack the belief issue because it's like you can't force yourself to believe something other than what you believe. But it's very easy to solve a disbelief in learning, because all you have to do is just go learn something. Like you say, I lack the fundamental ability to learn what I need to learn in order to solve my problem. Well, just go learn something. Like, I don't know, Google it, right? Like, how does a hydroponic farm work? Just Google it and you'll learn it and go, oh, I just learned something. Okay, well, now what do I need to learn? And then you make a learning plan and you're like, okay, what are all the things that I would need to learn in order to actually believe or achieve the outcome that I want? And then now you can believe that you can do it because you can believe that you can learn it and you've got the plan on what to learn, right? So I look at learning as an opportunity to tackle the fundamental belief problem. So anyway, that's why I'm an educator. That's why I believe education can change the world, because if you get people to learn the right new things and believe in their ability to learn the right things, ultimately they'll believe in any possibility for their lives. Okay, so that said, I want to do two things real quick. I'm going to share, because I could talk about this all day. I get all fired up, but I'm going to do two things real quick. First, I'm going to share with you, where is it? Oh, shoot. You know what? Hold on. Let me remove that from the screen. And actually, if you're on Instagram, you can't see this. In fact, you know what? I'm not going to share that because we won't be able to see it on Instagram and it won't be any good. But basically, it's a diagram from the Carol Dweck book that shows when new information enters the mind of a person who believes in themselves and has a properly calibrated mindset that says, I can learn new things and I can convert new learning into new possibilities for my life and this chain of events that happens for them, as opposed to the mind of someone who's closed off to new learning. Somebody just asked me if I know about digital marketing. I'm simply going to say yes, leave it at that. Like some people are like, oh yeah, he knows about digital marketing. That's been my career for a long time. Check out my YouTube channel. I have lots of information on there about digital marketing. But anyway, as opposed to what happens when new information enters the mind of a person who's closed off and doesn't believe that they can learn and apply what they've learned to create the life that they want. And it's this chain reaction. And when you see the chain, the way she spells it out and the way it affects how the work that they do and how they receive feedback and what they ultimately believe about themselves and what they're likely to do the next time, you see the domino effect based simply around how we receive new information and what we believe we can do with new information. I was already in the industry that I'm in. I already love what I do, but it wildly affirmed and increased my belief that education is how you change the world, because education is how you change individual people. But for many, the first thing you need to change is their relationship to education. A lot of people have a negative relationship to education because it takes them back to school. It takes them back to experiences that they didn't feel great about themselves. It wasn't the best time in their life. But change the relationship people's relationship to education and to learning, you change the world. The name was Carol Dweck, and the book was called Mindset, The New Psychology of Success. So the next thing that I wanted to talk about here, and this is what I've done, because the most useful thing for me, in fact, the most necessary thing for me in this world, is I have to have filters. Somebody's asking, how much is the ENTRE program fully? That's hard to say. We have, I believe we have something for everyone. We have inexpensive courses that can do wonders for people. And we have what I think a lot of people would consider very expensive, like hands-on coaching and masterminds and intensives and workshops and, really deep touch, high touch engagement curriculum that's multiple 5 figures. And we have all points in between. We really wanted to build ENTRE to be able to deliver at the highest level to people that want the highest engagement, but also to be able to deliver to everyone, even people who can't afford or don't want to commit to the deeper engagement. We want to have really great value at our lower level too. And that's what ENTRE does. So if you're seeing this on YouTube, just go to my YouTube channel and click the link in the video on the homepage, and it'll take you some entry level trainings. You can kind of get a taste of what we're all about without having to commit to a lot financially. But anyway, so what I was saying is what I need in my life, because I'm like 10 naturally towards the ADD and I'm easily distracted and I get overwhelmed easily. If there's too much going on, I freeze up. I have to have, and it's one of the reasons I'm so OCD and almost obsessive about my life, is because it's such a slippery slope for me to to allow any bit of chaos or uncertainty into my life, because I'll just freeze up and do nothing. So it's I got to run a really tight ship or my ship sinks. So for me, I have to have filters. I have to have really, really finely tuned lenses that I can look at the world through that will allow me to only see the things that I need to be focused on, and then to block out and hopefully not even perceive all the rest of the stuff. The 96%, I think it's about 96% of the stuff in the world that doesn't serve us and distracts us. And maybe it's good, but good's the enemy of great, and it's not going to ultimately get us where we want to go. I tend to say I want to hone in on around 4% of what's out there, because I feel like that's the 20% of the 20%, right? We all hear about the 80-20. I think that inside the 20, there's another 80-20. And that we need the 20 of the 20, which is 4%. That means 24 out of 25 things that come our way are bad for us. And I have to have a lens that I look through my life that blocks out the 24 of 25 things. So I'm super obsessed with coming up with really, really easy to access values, core beliefs, things that broad brushes that I can paint everything with, because I just don't have the time or the mental energy or maybe just the skill to be constantly making all these little micro decisions. It's got to be big, fat, and simple for me. So when it comes to saying, okay, how do I make sure that I'm solid in my belief for the entirety of my existence, so that I don't allow creeping influences that would, get into the cracks in my belief? I believe it comes down to values. You have to have a mission and values that drive your life, that are so non-negotiable, not rigid, but non-negotiable, but that are also adaptable and flexible and can, tolerate all circumstances. So I was going to share all our values, but honestly, I've been talking long enough. It'll take too much time. I'll probably do a series where I work through them. And honestly, if you're in ENTRE, we just redid our values and they're about to be shared with you. But I will, and I'm thinking, I'm just going to pick one. That's what I'll do. I'm going to start doing one value a day. That'll work well. The first ENTRE value, the first new set of values is we live by choice, not by chance. It used to be we favor possibility over probability, which I still like, but we changed it just because choice and chance has it's still easier words for people to access. We live by choice, not by chance. I'm gonna leave you with this today. Are we living by choice or chance? Is your life, well, first of all, the answer is you do live by choice. but do you perceive your life that way? Because I'll tell you, everything you have, everything you are is a function of your choices. Now, you didn't choose your starting point, but everything that's happened to get from your starting point to where you are now, especially as an adult, has been a function of choices, right? And that's your life. It's not by chance, it's by choice. But are you living that? Here's the thing. That should be an arc that increases over the course of your life. Like on day one, you have the least choice and the most chance you'll ever have in your life. But every sequential day for the rest of your life, that relationship flips. A little less chance every day and a little more choice. And maybe by the time you're 14, 15, maybe 17, 18 for some people, maybe 9, 10 for others, chance dips and choice surpasses. And for that moment, for the rest of your life is more governed by choice than chance. And the longer it goes, the more it's choice and the less it's chance. So look at your life. Like if you're 50, if you're 60, if you're 34, like if you're pretty much past your teens, your life is generally dominated by the products of your choices. And yet you listen to the language that most people use when they describe their lives. Very often it's the language of a passenger. They're talking about all the stuff that happened to them. Oh, so, man, what happened? We always ask that question. What's happening? That's the number one way we greet people. Hey, what's happening? I'm happening. I'm actively happening to my surroundings. Ain't nothing happening to me. I'm happening to the world. How many people answer that question that way? Hey, what's happening? Well, my lunch was late and they served it cold, and my wife was mad at me, and my boss yelled at me, or it's good news too. They decided to choose me for a promotion. No, they didn't decide to choose you for a promotion. You earned the promotion. What's happening? I worked my ass off and got myself qualified to be considered for a promotion. I chose a restaurant that has crappy service, so by the time they served me my food, it was cold. I haven't been properly depositing credits into my account with my wife, my love account, through responsiveness and validation and being loving and being empathetic and spending time with her. And so this morning she'd had enough and she actually let me have it. I created that situation. How much are we answering the what's happening question with first person responses about what we're doing? Because the reality, we live by choice, not by chance. Those are the only accurate responses, at least according to my worldview. And the reason I'm saying this is because you get crystal clear on your values and you get really intentional about crafting your language, specifically your language that you speak to yourself in accordance with those values. That's the actual day-to-day experience to build the muscle that will change your beliefs around learning and ultimately your outcomes. You have to make it small and simple and exercisable so that you actually start to have a different experience of the world. And that happens through language. And language is driven by values. What we believe drives what we think drives what we say drives what we do drives what we have, right? That's my 2 cents for the day, ladies and gents. I'll catch you tomorrow. I gotta go. Peace.